Billy Ford Gucci and a racing cam and a supercharged. Look at Buddy hot rod at large. She's a hot rod. She's a hot rod. She's my hot rod.
Hey, caller, you're on the air. Hello.
Hey, Big George. This is Mark from Region Rides. How are you?
I'll be Mark from Region Rides, my man. You got some stuff going on, boy. Have you got a whirlwind going on? That magazine this month is great.
Absolutely, always.
That magazine this month is outstanding.
Thank you. I'm glad you like it. We got some really nice features in there this month.
Oh, absolutely. I even like that one old guy that writes in the back of the book.
Who's that? The guy who's always talking about the wintertime and the summertime? And
Yeah, that guy.
Cars all maintained pretty well.
When you get old, that's all you talk about, Mark, is the seasons.
You know what, George? Actually, what happened was this guy contacted me, and we felt so sorry for him, so we decided to go ahead and let him go ahead and get in the back of the book and ramble on a little bit.
You know what? It happens, and I tell you what, be good to the old man. He's a good guy. What do you got going, Mark? So what's happening out? You got something in Valpo coming up first.
Yeah, we've got the Valpo Car Show with Swap Meet this weekend at the Porter County Fairgrounds.
That's this Sunday?
It's this Sunday. It's from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's $5 to show your car. It's a $5 general admission, and if you want to be a part of the Swap Meet, it's $15 per spot, and the spots are 10 foot by 25 foot. So they're really, really nice spots, and we've got the whole north side of the fairgrounds to fill up.
Oh, my.
I think everyone's a little worried about the weather, but, I think we've been watching it, and it's supposed to be getting warmer. So usually when it gets warmer, it doesn't usually rain that bad or that much at all. So
or that
we're
long.
not going to worry about it. So.
For that long, it usually goes away after a bit. Mother Nature should cooperate.
Exactly.
She hasn't been good to us yet this year for our car shows, so doggone it, it's time. It's time we get a little extra thing going.
It's not like last year. It seemed like every weekend last year it rained.
It did. Unbelievable. Yeah, I'm tell you what, I can't wait for it. I'm going to be out there Sunday to see you. I got to stop and I got to.
Good, George. Yeah, it's a good show. We've actually acquired the show from the previous owner of the show. Mario Alvarez put it on he's been putting that show on since the 80s. And he reached out to Region Rise and he said, "Hey, listen, I'd like to hand the show over to you if I can." And we worked out a deal, and so Region Rides is going to be taking over the Valpo Car Show and Swap Meet. So we do the show in May, and then we're also going to do a show in August. Same place, same MO with everything, with the car show and the Swap Meet. There's going to be food vendors, there's a DJ, and then we do the top 50 awards, and we do a best show, best engine, and best paint.
Wow, you got it down. We're gonna. I can't wait. I can't wait for this to happen. I think they reached out to the right guy to come out and do this.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, we're really excited about it, and actually very, very. We were very humbled when Mario reached out and he said, "Hey, listen, I want to hand this over to you." I thought, wow, that's pretty something considering who it's coming from. So
absolutely, Mark.
We're really excited about it.
Well, I look forward to seeing you on Sunday, Mark. Thanks for calling and telling everybody about it.
All right, absolutely, George. You take it easy, okay?
All right, pal. I try. I can't do anything but take it easy. I'm old. I'll talk to you.
Good writing, okay?
I'll talk to you Sunday.
All right, sounds good.
All right, buddy. Mark Hallier from Region Rides Magazine. He's quite a guy. I'm teasing about the guy that writes in the back of that. That's me. I write an article for him every month, and it's real good. With us today, we have Chuck Pullen, my engineer buddy. He's a broadcast engineer. He's the man. He knows all about this. He radio, television, he does it all. But he also knows cars. He's also the guy, if you look at my Facebook posts, I talked about he's the mad scientist that's stuffing a V8 engine into a DeLorean. Chuck.
I was going to say, I know one car. I don't know cars. I know one car. I've learned one car. And as we've talked about in the past, learning the DeLorean is kind of a different process than learning other cars. So
that's much different.
Yes.
I was the DeLorean man in this area, trust me, and I didn't want to be. I was thrust into it because one of my best friends had one. Next thing I know, I'm listed in DeLorean magazine. Oh, please don't tell anybody I work on these things. I only wanted to do it for him. I didn't want to do it for everybody. Trust me, they're nasty. Well, they're not nasty. They're just different.
They're different.
Like you said, they're different.
Yeah.
I got to ask you, you always seem to have your finger on the pulse of the car world. I want to ask you something about this gas situation. Now, you lived in Munster during the floods.
Right.
And there was all kinds of water. We've had these rains before. What happened this time that actually it's Munster Marathon, and that's not anywhere near the river. They're saying it's got some water in its tanks from all the rain.
Well, and so I have to, we talked about this a little bit, is the whole story is a little suspect to me, and I have to wonder if there's more to the story, that there are bigger corporate names that do not want to be named. You know what I mean? So
a person of interest to be named later, yeah.
Exactly. A large multinational corporation to be named later. So, I mean, I guess that's sort of the question is, it's strange that you would have, I always say that, 2 is a coincidence, 3 is a conspiracy. So now you've got all of these gas stations. So
you've got 6 of them.
So, I mean, I think there's more to it, and hopefully this is one of those stories where they actually figure out what the problem is, because as you know, I mean, one gas station with bad gas, you have all these gas. How many vehicles do you think were affected by this? Probably 100 cars or more.
Oh, easy, and they cost everybody $1,000,
right,
or better to get it if it didn't ruin the motor.
And there's a safety aspect of you get gas, get on the highway, and your car dies right as soon as you get on the highway. I mean, there's that aspect of it as well. So
yeah, hopefully it's going to die right there in the parking lot.
Well, that's what I said.
Fill up.
You know when you get bad gas because you don't even make it out of the parking lot.
Well, and that's an interesting theory, and I have to tell you that for one of the few times in this world we agree on something. We don't agree on a lot, especially politics, but cars we have a tendency, because he has a lot of knowledge, and I'm going to tell you, all these gas stations that didn't get water and we've been having rains for years. All of a sudden, we got 7 gas stations, and they only mentioned 7 or 6.
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 gas stations, no more. That could have been one tanker full.
Right.
That could have been one tanker truck that left the supplier, the refinery. That's what the word I was looking for. One tanker truck left that refinery with a load of water.
Maybe he left the refinery, left his hatch open in the rain or something. Right?
There's a possibility of that too. But, I mean, he could have delivered 10,000, that's 60,000 gallons. That's what those tankers hold.
Yeah.
If he delivered, most of the time he's not delivering 10,000 gallons, he's delivering 5. And, of course, this time he was delivering 5 and 3,000 gallons of water. And they're all in the area right here in northwest Indiana. So that theory is not too far-fetched.
Yeah, I think that's sort of a suspicious thing, because we've gotten plenty of heavy rains lately. I don't remember ever hearing a rash of gas stations shut down like that.
Well, it's real easy to go on the news or even the internet and say, well, the problem is all the rains. And people will buy that.
Right.
Smart people won't buy it. And I didn't buy it when I read it. I called into Rick Federighi's show the other morning. We talked, and he was just aghast by it. I know the new gas stations, and these are all older gas stations. None of these are brand new, I don't think. I know for a fact 3 of them are old. Anyway, the newer gas stations all have electronic surveillance in their tanks in the ground to see if there's any moisture or contaminants, any foreign material, any foreign chemical. The old ones, when we worked at, and it's been that way for 50 years, gas stations have had a big long stick. They all keep inside the station, and they put a waxy substance on the bottom of it, dip it down in the tank and pull it back up, and it has to be a certain color. If it doesn't come back, if it turns blue or whatever, like a litmus test, if it turns blue, there's contaminants in that tank in the ground. And by law, they're supposed to shut that tank off and shut those pumps off. But, I mean, none of these gas stations had electronic surveillance of that, or, the new warning, beep, 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 you have danger, Will Robinson, then guess what? Somebody should have stuck those tanks. We used to call it, when I was a kid, we called it sticking the tanks in the morning. And you have to do it.
Well, let's delve into an urban legend. Maybe it's not an urban legend that my grandfather used to talk about. He used to say, don't ever get gas while the truck is filling up their tanks, because it swirls everything up.
Exactly. You know what? That's not an urban legend.
So he always said that. And so I'm wondering now the new rule will be, don't get gas in the rain either.
Don't get gas in the rain. Well, I'm telling you that, the new urban story. The deal, I guess, and that's not an urban legend, because it swirls up all the crap in the bottom of the tank, and you might end up with some dirt.
That's one of those habits that you get built in. As soon as I see the truck, I just go on to the next gas station.
Yeah, I do. If they're getting gas, I'm out of there. I don't stop, simply because I know that tank is swirling. Any sediment that settles and it all goes, of course, to the bottom, like everything else. Well, now, but water will sit on top. When we check for gas, water in the gas at my place, my guys, simple old mason jar, glass jar. Unhook the fuel injector, electronically run the fuel injection, get some gas, set it aside. Just let it sit for 15 minutes, and you'll know in a heartbeat.
It'll separate.
It will separate, and the water will be on top. But if it gets stirred up, guess what? Any gunk in there is either we got 6 gas stations in Northwest Indiana that need new tanks, or something very mysterious is going on here.
I'd say you've got a conspiracy on your hands.
I don't get it. There's several variables here, and 2 of them are not nice. I mean, somebody could be lying. Think they're lying to us, Chuck?
Oh,
they wouldn't lie to us, would they? I can't imagine being lied to by the powers that be. They're so straight and narrow. I gotta love them. Well, it is what it is. I mean, there's nothing we can do about it, and I'm not buying gas anywhere near those places. I stay close to home. And Indiana now, you were just talking before we get the show. Chuck says Indiana is almost cheaper to buy gas than Illinois until this happened.
Your Illinois new gas tax is in committee right now.
Yeah.
And so you may get quite a sticker shock.
So it's not going to be cheaper in Illinois anymore. We can thank that wonderful new governor we got for that. I got to tell you, we talked right before the break, we talked about the gas tax in Illinois going up 50 cents. What did you say they're going to go from 19 cents to
19 to 44 cents?
So that's more than double.
Well, and so what was interesting, there's a host of new fees, and so for instance, the cost of renewing your plate will go up from $100 to $150. And what was most interesting, your driver's license will go up, your gas tax, what did we say? It was 19 to 44 cents. And what was interesting about this is they snuck in this other thing here that was sort of surprising is they want to add a $1,000 excise tax to electric vehicles.
So if you buy a non-polluting vehicle, and of course you're not going to buy any gas, so you're not going to pay any gas tax. They need that gas tax to however they're going to waste it. That's what our politicians in Illinois do. Anyway, so they're going to make it. We're going to fix it. That's good. $1,000 a year tax. Do you think I pay $1,000 a year in gasoline tax?
Well, and that was the interesting question I was thinking about: is how many miles would you have to drive in the average vehicle to generate $1,000? So look at 44 cents a gallon. Think about how long would that take you, the average person. You probably don't generate half that.
Well, let's do 44 cents a gallon, and then I need a CPA out there. Got any math
we should
people
do this
out there?
during the break and come back with that. It'll take us a few minutes.
Because I tell you what, 44 cents a gallon. How many miles would you have to drive?
And you're averaging, roughly, let's say 30 miles to the gallon.
Oh, it's just nuts.
I mean, yeah. So that's an interesting thing, because for a long time we were incentivizing buying electric cars, and it's sort of that interesting thing I always talk about with government is that the one hand doesn't know what the other's doing. So on one hand they're sitting here incentivizing electric vehicles, and then when they become popular, the other hand goes, well, wait a second, how are we going to pay for the roads if you're giving everybody incentives and not taxing the electric
so
vehicles?
We're making electric vehicles, and we're going to make the air clean, and people are going to be happy, yada yada yada. But we don't have any money now to fix the roads.
But here's the argument about this, though. Are you really helping the environment by getting an electric vehicle? That's been the big topic of discussion
I don't
recently.
think so. That's right. My opinion.
So when you look at, obviously in this country, most of the electricity comes from coal.
Yeah.
So you've got coal power plants, you've got to mine lithium, and all these things that go into it. So what I tell people all the time is, don't buy an electric car because you think you're saving the planet. Buy an electric car because it makes sense for you.
Because you want one.
Because you want one, and it makes sense, and it's not going to be
and you can use it
inconvenient.
because it's
right. So that's the whole idea: is you have to look at your lifestyle and say, can I get from home to work and back on a single charge every day?
Buying an electric car doesn't make you too good.
You're not going to stop halfway to work every day for 50 minutes and charge your car. So you got to think about stuff like that. You got to think about your lifestyle. And so there's a lot that goes into it. So I would say and there's a lot of people that bought into the electric car to save the planet and to do their part. And a lot of those people get upset when you explain to them that, are you really making a big difference here?
I got to tell you something else. The extra exposure that we risk to a lithium. Lithium is some nasty, nasty chemical.
Yeah.
And it's not good for you. It's not good for the environment. It's not good for the ozone. It's not good for you what you breathe. It's not good for you personally, your lungs, anything.
And the last time I was here, we talked at length about firefighting and all those sorts of things.
Firefighting, a lithium fire.
Yeah.
And now the last thing I read was water, lots of water. Well, now it's all going to soak in the ground, and we're going to have it in our water supply.
Well, there was a Tesla that they put the fire out, towed it to the yard, and it caught fire again in the yard a few hours later. So
lithium.
I mean, there's a lot that we need to figure out about that. But I mean, that's sort of the thing that I look at it and I say, you know, I'm specifically looking at getting a Tesla, and they always say don't buy the first one of anything. So I didn't want to buy the first Tesla Model 3 that came off the line. So we'll get the Tesla 3B or whatever it ends up
they
being.
just raised the prices.
Right,
on
and they
you.
raised the prices. And then, you know, there's a lot that going on in the world with tariffs and things like that could affect lithium prices, and who knows what the future holds. But I mean, again, at the end of the day, you really have to look at it as, you know, something that you do, and it has to make sense for you. And I always joke all the time. I said, you know, I'm already half asleep when I drive to work in the morning. I might as well be able to take a nap and let the car do the work.
The main mining of lithium for batteries. Now that's what's used in these batteries. Lithium. They're lithium ion batteries. Is in China.
Right.
And the reason being, they don't care about their people in China. You think those coal farmers look bad when they come out of that mine shaft? Lithium miners take a huge risk. There's no telling what the number of diseases that they're going to come out of there with, cancers, and lithium is nasty, nasty stuff. And we're gonna ride around with it in our car.
Well, and so that's what you wanted to talk about today, is a little bit about the idea of the countries that are moving towards banning gasoline-powered vehicles. So, for instance, right now we have 10 countries, mainly in Europe, that have plans that a ban would go into effect somewhere between 2030 and 2040. So just recently, Amsterdam, for instance, as you're talking about with cities, Amsterdam is putting a plan together that would ban gas vehicles from driving into the city center, essentially.
Yes.
By 2030. So you'll have to, if you want to keep your gas car, you can keep your gas car, but you got to park it in the suburbs and take the train in, kind of thing.
You got to take the train in. That's
Right.
what they already have that in London. You cannot. You get fined, or you pay a fee to drive your car in London in the downtown area in the congestive area during rush hour if it's gasoline. If it's electric, you don't pay. They're trying to do that in New York City. They're working on first of all, I don't know how you're going to collect it.
Well, you talk about the surge pricing and things like that. In Chicago, I talked about that as well. And then what the concern is with that is you end up with essentially you have to have a new generation of a taxing mechanism like an iPass. So now it needs to know, when I'm coming in and out of the city.
More government regulations,
Right.
more Big Brother is watching.
As you may have heard, there are several states that are moving towards a GPS mechanism to track your mileage. So you basically turn in your miles at the end of the year, and then they tax you based on that. And again,
and of course, where you've been and where you're going.
Well, and so obviously people with privacy concerns say, well, I don't want the government downloading all my GPS data at the end of the year and things like that. So, there's a lot of concerns about where that will go in the future. I mean, not even to mention the fact that, there are countries like ours that couldn't handle, if half this country switched to electric vehicles in the next couple of years, our grid couldn't handle that.
Oh, absolutely not.
And that would cripple
absolutely
us.
not. We'd have to find another source
Right.
of electricity.